I want to start with this. If nothing else good ever happens to me, my cup is already overflowing. Like the last week, especially, I've gone back through in my private time with God all these moments where I was not a good person. I started drinking at 16 because my brain hated me a lot, and I really found that it made it stop. And not only did it make it stop, it made me feel good about myself, and I felt pretty, and all of a sudden all these people would give me, guys especially, attention, then I felt great about that. And it put me in a lot of really dangerous situations and a really lot of things I'm not proud of. And I'm really grateful that God has delivered me from that. Oh. And I look back at where I was before I went to rehab. My children wouldn't talk to me. It was really hard for me to see my child tell me that I broke a promise that I couldn't control and I couldn't fix. And my mom took my kids and she left, and I was left alone in this really dirty apartment. And I remember I didn't want to die, and I felt like I was gonna die. And I just kept saying, I don't want to die like this. And I kept drinking. Like, who does that? Like, I was so broken that even in wanting to stop, I still couldn't. And I remember there was this really disgusting piece of carpet of me going back and forth trying to haul myself to the bathroom of my own vomit and feces, and it was I thought I was gonna die. Like, I really did. I thought I was gonna die alone in this hole, and I cried out. And a few days later, my mom came and got me, and she wanted me to go to church, which I absolutely did not. I did not want to do that. But we went to Bethel, and my mom was really persistent, and Gary were really persistent in me having hands laid on me. And the next day, Hope House in Fort Wayne called, and they had a bed available for me, which they didn't for 3 months. So I know that was God, because I was willing to surrender. And I went to humor everyone. I went because when I'm sober, I don't think I have a problem. So I'm going to go and I'll show them it's fine.
Lindy, can
Yeah.
I say something real quick?
Sure, Mom, you can.
You got that phone call for the Bed at Hope
I got
House
that phone
at
call.
the altar.
I did not, Mom. I got that phone call the next day with Carolyn in front of in front of the CSP building.
You
She's
left
the
the
one
next day.
Yeah,
You
she
left the
took
next
me.
day. She came and got you.
It's okay. But, so I appreciate it. But, when I got to Hope House, I had no idea how to live. I hadn't lived my life at all. And I had to learn to budget timing. My life had to be accountable. Like, I had to turn in the day before where I was going to be for the next 24 hours. And I'm like, who does that? Who knows where they're going to be at 3 p.m. the next day? I had to. And there were a lot of girls there that would still use, we would have to walk past liquor stores and they would try to cheat these tests. And I just didn't. I didn't want that anymore. And the longer that went, the more I didn't want to be that ever. And there was a really important moment in that process that I knew was God, even though I still wouldn't give him credit for that then. They let me stay up later than I was supposed to because I was having a mental breakdown. I sat up and wrote 25 pages out of my life, of things I had done, of people I had hurt, of all of these things, and I could not withstand that. It was like I had been going as a tornado in this direction, and God just completely stopped me and turned me around, and I realized the devastation for the first time that I had left behind in everyone's life. And I was so bad they actually had to medicate me, which was a definite no-no, but the director let them medicate and sedate me because my blood pressure would not come down. I could not stop crying, And they actually put me on the inpatient unit for 3 days, and I refused to do that because I'm thinking, no, I won't have a bed. I can't do this. And I went, and I was able to actually breathe, and I found freedom in that, and I came back, and I was a different person, and the whole time I knew that was God, and I still was like, thanks for fixing me. Now I can go back to what I was doing. Like, this is great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But I'm going to do this now. And I was so very wrong about that. I thought I had lost custody of my children. I had signed paperwork my mom had told me I had, and I believed that I had lost custody of my children, which killed me. When I came home from rehab, I came here, actually, with my children to this home, and I hated myself because I thought I had failed as their mom. And my mom said that she had the paperwork, but she had never finalized that paperwork because she believed that I would change. So I didn't have to do anything to get my kids back, but just believe that God was good and he could do that. So that was insane for me. And I left here, and I went for a summer, and I lived with my sister, who swore she would never let me babysit or watch or keep her son because I was not worthy of that, and she was concerned. And I got to babysit him for a whole summer because she believed in me. I'm so sorry. I got to move to Hartford City to my very first apartment with my children, and it was so small, and it was so tiny. And it was the most amazing thing to me because I felt like a real person, like a real adult. Like, I have bills, and I'm not out drinking, and I care about my kids, and we had all these super fun memories in this super tiny space. Our kitchen table touched our bed. Like, it was so tiny. And then in the meantime, he was shot in a random road rage incident. And I was done with him, baby steps, but he changed after being shot. And then he lost his job because he couldn't work because he'd been shot. So he moved in with me, and we slept on this very tiny air mattress that would deflate all night long, and this very small apartment with 4 children. And I thought, okay, this is okay, this is fine. Oh my goodness. And then we got our apartment now, and we just kept growing, and we kept baby changing. And I know that was God, but at the time, I just thought it was in my own strength. I didn't realize what God was doing and what he was laying down until I look back at all of it, and it's just in wonderment. And there's this, I feel so unworthy. I feel just so unworthy because God loved me when I couldn't love me. God loved me when I couldn't love me and hated him. He still loved me. And I don't feel worthy of that. Like, it's life-changing for me. And my sister begged me to go to church with her at Eden Church of God. And she's like, this pastor here, like, you don't understand this sermon. This was something. I'm like, well, tell me about it. Tell me. Explain it to me. And she's like, they lost their child. And he stood on the stage and gave a sermon after they lost their child. And in my mind, I went, who would do that? Who would stand on the stage and say, God is still good, and I'm going to tell you about his goodness after God has done let their child die? Because that was my mindset. God took their child, and that they still, okay. So I went, and I realized who God was in pieces and parts in that church, and it was beautiful. And then I met her, and she, prays in tongues and wants me to talk to Holy Spirit and everything else, and I'm just like, who are you and what is this? And there was this moment where God set me down and took all the bad out. I believed I was delivered from something evil that had attached to my life, and I needed that piece to be broken off before I could be this. And after that deliverance, I stood up, and for the first time in my whole life, the thing I wanted the most, the thing I chased, I felt love. I felt God's love, and I was so overwhelmed. I went home and I cried, and he's like, is this good cry? Like, what are we doing? And I'm like, no, I'm happy, and I couldn't. But I'm sobbing. Like, I could not stop crying. Like, now, like, I'm just really, I'm so grateful for what I have in my life and things that I don't deserve. My family is whole. My children love me. God has let me repair all these things with them. You know, it was so hard. And had you not held your ground as a child, I don't think I would have went to rehab. You pushing me and you hating me made me look in the mirror at something I didn't want to face. You know, and I am so grateful every day that you have forgiven me, that I get to be your mom, that I get to be a good mom.
That's my mom!
You know? And it's been such a blessing and a freedom for me, because I lived in such a dark place, and to feel this free is amazing. And I am so happy to share all of this with you. God is so good, and I know that there have been members of my family that have watched the darkness. I know some of you have really only seen me in the light, but there have been many of my family that have lost sleep over me, that have, you know, for instance, they disowned me really hard. My mom wouldn't come talk to me. She was done, which I do not blame her for. I had one family member that would come to these things, and that was my Aunt Christy. You know, and I'm still grateful to this day that God put in her heart to believe in me, because she saw something in me I don't see. She knew, and you knew, that I could be this, but I didn't know that. You know, I thought I was going to be broken forever, and you just didn't understand the level that I was broken. You know, and that I could never be fixed, and to feel love, to be this free, to see my family talk about being baptized, like just to have talks and them consider it was just mountains for me. So I don't know what God has planned for this day when we go, but I am so grateful, because to see my family love Jesus the way that I do is amazing to me. I'm so blessed in that. I sat in Pastor Roger's office when we first started going to church, and I told him, you don't understand, my kids hate God, and I did that. I told him God's not enough. I told him that God isn't good, and they'll never know God because I've done that, and he laughed at me. But I took it personally, because I know that I had said unkind things, and I had poisoned their mind to be angry at God the way I was. So the fact that we're here today where they love God and they want to even consider being baptized is so good to me. Like, I want to talk about them. You know, I want to talk about my husband who has changed, and I love watching him change more than I love myself changing. You know?
I am my dad.
I'm just so grateful.
That's
and
my
I'm so
son-in-law.
I'm so grateful that you guys all came to celebrate this with me today, because this day means more than my birthday, Mother's Day, or anything other day, because this was the day that God started 10 years of setting me free, piece by piece by piece, and walking this out with my family. So there's pictures on here if you guys get a chance. They're like every 15 seconds. These are 10 years of memories and moments that wouldn't have happened without this day, without pushing through this. So I'm super happy you guys came. So do you guys want to go see if who's going to get baptized?
I was going to say, should we say the whole reason why we started life coaching?
Oh, yeah.
Or is that not good? Because I just think that's ironic.
No, I feel like we should, because later when we come back for tacos, my mom and I would actually we're going to sing a song, which I'm terrified to do, but she really wants to, and he feels like we should, so we're going to try it. But the reason that we had started life coaching with AC that got me the deliverance was I hated my mom. I hated my mom. I was never going to forgive my mom. I sat in front of AC and I said, there is no way I will ever forgive my mom. My mom and I just are never going to get along. She hates me. I hate her. And then I got delivered and I wasn't mad anymore. And I called my mom and I'm like, I forgive you. And she started getting really mad at me. You forgive me? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And I love you. I really love you. And it was the funnest thing for me, because he knew it, but she didn't understand it yet. And I remember sitting in this living room and I'm telling my mom about God, and he's sitting here on the computer, and I would say things that Holy Spirit was like filling me with. And I remember he would turn around and he would look at me, and then he would turn back around. And then he would just turn around and look like he knew something was changing. He knew something was shifting in me. But there was a darkness that was in my life that caused us a lot of pain and a lot of divide. And I came here for my birthday before the day I was, before the months leading up to my deliverance. And it was my birthday, and I wanted to come and sing with my mom. And he thought I was insane because I didn't like my mom. He was like, you want to go to your mom's and sing on your birthday? And I'm like, yes, I really do. So we got to come and sing, and I feel like that was how God started softening my heart and moving things through with my mom in ways that let me see the love. There was never an action you were ever going to do that was going to be positive or I felt was loved. Everything you ever did for me, I thought you hated me. I really did. And I'm so sorry for that. And I'm really happy.
Me.
I'm really happy that that's not how I see you anymore.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I took it on. I thought, I gotta change her. I can change her. I can do that.
No.
And it wasn't until I completely
Let
just
go and
let
let
go
God. Yeah.
and let God.
Yeah.
Because I just,
And I went to rehab
And
and we
he
got
did.
here. Yeah, he
and he
did.
did.
And he did. And God is really good for that.
And he does.
Yeah. So I'm excited, and I'm like
it the
dying to
Judds?
know who is going to be baptized.
Sing in the Judds.
Yeah.
Yes, she wants
Okay.
me to sing.
This started out as his
Spoiler
idea.
alert.
I don't
Yeah.
want to
He
sing
wants
for
us-
people.
I'm so sorry.
He wants us to sing She Is His Only Need by Winona.
Oh,
She- he-
I thought it was Love Could Build a Bridge.
I would love that one
Me
better.
too.
We did do that.
Yeah, we
did
did.
too.
We actually
We
sang
did.
it
I think
in
we
Bible
should sing
study.
with
So,
them.
but I'm like
This is
super
Gary.
excited to do this. So let's go
Gary's
baptize my
favorite.
family.
You're singing Poker Face.
And Gary, say